In this lesson, we're going to learn two things. One, how to pass array lists as arguments to methods, and secondly, how to modify the contents of an array list. We haven't looked at how to do that yet. And we're going to do that in terms of passing an array list to a method and have it modify the values in the array list. So first, let's start off with the simple method that displays the contents of an array list. We might want to do this so that we're not constantly writing for loops in our main code. So we're going to call this method display, and it's going to take an array list as its argument, or as the parameter. We'll just call that ARR. The body of the method call is just a loop that works through the array list, as we've done before, writing each value out to the console with a space after it. So it's going to be get sub I plus a space. And then at the end, we'll add a print line so that it prints a blank line at the end, so that we'll start on a new line the next time we want to print something. So that's how the method's written. To call it in the main program, we're just going to write display with our array list name, numbers. So let's save the file, and let's compile part5.java, and then run it. And there's our elements 1 through 10. So that's pretty simple to do. Now let's look at the next example. If we want to modify the contents of an array list, we can do that using a method that's part of the ArrayList class called set. Also, we can do it in a method call and have the changes reflect back in the main program, because array lists are what are called reference objects. And a reference object is never passed by value, they're passed by reference. And if you remember what that means is that we have access to the underlying memory addresses where the array list elements are stored, and we're modifying those, not just a copy of the array list elements. So we're going to call this method change, and we're going to have the first parameter be the array list with the data type, since we're making modifications to the data type. And then the second parameter will be an amount that we want to change the elements by. Imagine this was a set of grades and we wanted to curve the grades by either a % or a flat number. We could pass that value in right here. So here's how this works. Again, we loop through the array list like we always do, so that part's easy to understand. And then before I do that though, I want to create another variable that I'm going to use to get the value of each element as we go through it, make this a little bit easier to read. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the value of the element and store it in value. So we're going to do a get right here to get the element's value. Then we're going to call the set method like so. The set method takes an index position and a value. So our value is going to be what's in value, probably not a good choice of variable names, plus the amount, and that will change the element at that position, at position I, from the original value to value plus amount. And that's all we have to do. So we'll close off the loop, close off the method definition, save the file. Let's clear the screen, compile again, and then run. Oh, I forgot to call it. So there we go. So we're going to call change with the array list and an amount, so we'll say 5. And then we're going to display again so that we can see that we've made a change. So let's save, clear the screen, recompile, then run. And there we see that our first array list values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The second set is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So the change method worked. So again, there's really two things to take from this lesson. First of all, array lists can be passed as reference objects to methods, and they will be changed inside the method definition, and that change can be reflected or will be reflected in the main program when you look at the array list again. And to change an array list's element's value, you call the set method with the index position of the element you want to change and a value to change it to. For the next lesson, we're going to look at generating random numbers and using those random numbers in our array lists as means of testing. For example, if I want to write an array list that stores a set of grades and then I want to compute the average, and let's say I want to do that for 100 grades, it'd be really tedious to store 100 grades individually, either by direct assignment or entering them interactively from the keyboard. What I'd rather do is generate a set of random numbers from 0 to 100, store those in the array list, and then do my testing from that. So in the next lesson, we're going to look at how to generate random numbers.